What's going on, guys? So in this video we're going to be talking about a version of Armani Code that I've been meaning to get my hands on for a while, and it's one that I'm glad to finally have because I do deem it to be pretty damn versatile for the Code DNA. It does smell like Code, but if you're a fan of lavender, you'll probably love this one. It's Armani Code Eau de Parfum, and we're going to discuss, so stay tuned. So before we get going, I want to thank Perfume Online for sponsoring this video. PerfumeOnline.ca is Canada's #1 perfume choice. They were gracious enough to send this fragrance along for me to review. They have a ton of options to choose from at very competitive prices. Free shipping's available. You can search for all types of designers. Niche, as you can see on screen, a lot of great Middle Eastern options if you're on a budget. Just a lot of great stuff to choose from for a great price. Hard to beat when you're looking for a multitude of fragrances. So when it comes to the scent on this one, you'll notice in the note breakdown there's a bunch of citrus. I don't necessarily get any distinctive, like smells like orange or bergamot or anything like that. No real heavy lemony smell. What it does do for me, though, is it provides this brightness. Very fresh, bright, airy appeal to the top. It's a little green and spicy. I know there's a rosemary note in here, but it doesn't just kind of jump out heavily as rosemary. There's a little light green spice to it, but it's mostly this very aromatic, slightly soapy lavender note that you're going to get at the top. There's a Tonka Bean Absolute here that provides a sweet, creamy, vanillic, yet very powdery smell to where it's not overdone like I feel like Armani Code Absolute was, where the Tonka Bean Vanilla combo was just a little off-putting, a little cloying. Like I had to really be in the mood to wear that one. I seldom wear it because I seldom get in the mood because it's a lot of vanilla in Tonka Bean. Whereas here I feel like it's done just right because there is vanilla in Tonka Bean here still, but I feel like the lavender balances it out in this fragrance very well. And that light, fresh, spicy undertone in the backdrop kind of helps to counterbalance it as well. There's a nice woody nuance, muskiness. You get a lot of the notes that are here. You do get. It's a pretty cut and dry, straightforward type of fragrance where there's, outside of the citruses not really rearing their head and jumping out and say, hey, I'm a lemon note. Pretty much everything else in the note breakdown you can kind of decipher and get majority of the accords. Here it's definitely on the powdery side. If you're not a fan of powdery fragrances, you may not like this one. But if you do like powdery fragrances, which I do, and you're a fan of the original's DNA, which I am, you're probably going to really enjoy this one. I deem this one a little bit more versatile because it has the freshness of some of the fresher flankers. It has the core DNA minus the heavy spicy tone, the anise and stuff like that of the original, that licorice smell. It doesn't quite have that, but it maintains some of the darker essence because of the light spice that's here with the thumbprint of the DNA, which is the Tonka Bean. And the Tonka Bean they use here is very distinctive, very pronounced, a little on the powdery side. Like I said, if you're not a fan of powder, you won't like these, which Profumo is typically my favorite version, but this one seems to run a close race. Armani Code Profumo still narrowly edges it out because there's so much leather in that one. I really believe that added leather makes the Code DNA really flourish in the cold weather, in the evenings and such. Really beautiful. That's still my #1 of all the Code flankers and versions of Code that I've smelled, but this one runs a close race as second place. I like this better than the Colonia flanker, better than A-List, better than the original. I like this better than Absolute, obviously. I think this was a great rendition. This is a release from last year at the recording of this video, and I feel like it's a welcomed addition where it's not exactly a direct eau de parfum concentration version of the original, but it maintains the essence of what the original was about. It's still a sexy, seductive scent profile. My wife's a big fan of this one. This is actually her favorite version of Code that I own. She likes this one more than Profumo. I like Profumo a bit more. So if you're a fan of the Code DNA, aromatic, powdery, and sweet, you're good with all of that, you might want to get a sample of this one because it smells pretty damn good. In regards to performance, it shines, as do most Armani Code fragrances. This is every bit of 9 to 10 hours on my skin, so I can safely portray it as an 8 to 10 hour fragrance, so on the very good side. Bordering beast mode. What makes it border beast mode especially is the projection and sillage on this one. It's a pretty loud fragrance. If oversprayed or heavy sprayed, this can choke people out. This can be cloying because it's heavy lavender. It's very powdery, sweet tonka bean vanilla combo. It can be too much. I think less is more with this fragrance. I think the moderate level of sprays needs to be the top end. Obviously, you can do whatever you want if you want to spray this whole bottle on yourself in one time. You're an adult, I would assume, that's watching this, and you can make your own decisions. But for me personally, as far as recommendation, I would think based on the performance on this one, I would say it's kind of a 7 spray maximum. For me, the 4 to 5 spray range is perfect, very pronounced, makes a statement, very present, doesn't leave too much room for discoverability because it is not necessarily in your face, but it's pretty pronounced. At 4 to 5 sprays, trust me, it's a very strong fragrance coming off of my skin at 4 to 5 sprays. And then the sillage, once that projection calms down, it's a pretty strong scent bubble. Like I said, the tonka bean absolute that they used here, which is the basis of this DNA, the core of this fragrance, the majority of the scent that you're going to get from this is that tonka bean absolute vanilla combination with a little bit of musk and woods. It's pretty strong. The sillage here is more on the moderate side, more so than the moderate to mild. I get whiffs of this one, pretty nice strength whiffs the whole life of the fragrance. So if you're looking for something on the stronger side, look no further. This is, like I said, bordering beast mode. In some ways, it's pretty beastly, actually, especially depending on how you spray. But when sprayed moderately to slightly below that, I believe it suits this scent profile just right because it's such a heavy lavender in the top and mid that it can be super cloying to go with that powdery tonka bean. So be careful of it. Definitely trial and error, spray accordingly, start with a little, work your way up to find which spray combination works for you because you may not get the same performance that I get, but for me, this is awesome performance pretty much across the board. Final thoughts on Armani Code Eau de Parfum from Giorgio Armani. I think this was a great addition to the line, great flanker, did not veer away from the DNA, stayed true to the DNA while still bringing something not necessarily new to the line because they've had so many flankers that there may have been something already that smelled pretty damn close to this that I just haven't tried, but new in an essence that because of the added aromatic tone to this, like this is the most aromatic version of Armani Code I've ever tried. I feel like it twists it just a little bit while not veering away, like I said, from the core of the DNA. You still get a little bit of fresh spice to it. It's not quite as warm and spicy. I wouldn't call this the best evening wear fragrance, though it can work. I feel like this is a better daytime cold cutter. Early spring, definitely in the fall, in the winter. Like I'm wearing a heavyweight hoodie today because it is freezing outside. Light snow all day long. Highs are in the low 20s. The temperatures have felt like low teens all day long. And we're here at the recording of this. It's 2:21 in the afternoon. And it feels like 14 degrees right now because I checked before I recorded this video. I digress, though. Point being, this is perfect for this type of weather. It cuts through the cold very well. I think this is a great fragrance overall. Armani Code Eau de Parfum, in my book, is an 8 out of 10 fragrance. Like I said, great rating, great on my scale. 8 and 8.5 rates as great because across the board, it's great. It really is. It top to bottom, the scent profile is very alluring as long as you're okay with powdery. I keep stressing that because some people can't stand powdery. If you're a fan of powdery notes, powdery kind of aromas, and obviously it depends on your skin, but on my skin, powdery tones really come out. So if you're not a fan of that, you won't like this fragrance. But if you do like that stuff, this is going to be one you need to get on your skin and experience for yourself to see if it's full bottle worthy, because it definitely was for me. I tried this one back when it first released with Justin in a blind smell and rate video on paper. I really liked it then. Knew eventually I would get a bottle, and here we go. 8 out of 10. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on Armani Code Eau de Parfum. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What do you guys think of it? If you're interested in getting a bottle, again, thank you so much to PERFUMEONLINE.CA. That is where this bottle came from. They have testers. They have full presentation, 60 mLs. Like this here. Testers a few dollars less. They have, I believe it's a 100 milliliter bottle as well. So they have a few different bottle sizes. Very competitive pricing. You can get free shipping at a certain point in your order. Definitely check it out. Click the link below if you're interested in getting your hands on this fragrance. Again, thank you so much for sending this my way and letting me experience it. It's one I've been wanting to get in my collection. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on Armani Code Eau de Parfum and you give it a spray now, as long as you like lavender and sweet and powdery, you'll definitely thank me later. Have a good one, guys.